Okay, I have a question. Okay. Do you know who Richard Kuklinski is?
No.
All right, so I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know who Richard Kuklinski is?
No.
Okay. Okay. I have a question.
That's 12. Is it?
Can I ask you?
No.
That is,
So do you know who Richard Kuklinski is?
I just guessed based on that. I didn't know.
Who is he?
Serial killer.
Wow.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you know who Richard Kuklinski is?
No.
Okay. Do you know who Richard Kuklinski is?
No.
Okay.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Murder on My Mind podcast. I'm Allie.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be having a conversation about Richard Kuklinski. Richard Kuklinski was born on April 11th, 1935 in New Jersey City. He was born to an Irish immigrant father, Stanley Kuklinski, and a Polish immigrant mother, Anna Kuklinski. He was the second child of 4.
Did you know that although his mother was a devout Catholic, his father was a constant drinker who would beat him regularly?
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. I even heard that one time during the beating, Stanley reportedly killed one of Richard's other brothers.
Yeah, it's crazy that someone could be so drunk and so aggressive that they kill their own child. Richard began by killing cats and dropping out of school in the 8th grade. When he was a teenager, he committed his first murder, the local bully. He killed him by beating him to death, and then he disposed of any identifier marks. When he asked why he did it, he said that it made him feel empowered.
Whoa, that's really crazy. Is it that he gained mafia respect by the age of 18 by unquestioningly killing a random man pulled from the street? It didn't seem to bother him to kill anyone who angered him, from the loudmouths who reminded him of his father to his adversaries, well, basically, his enemies, at the pool table. Sometimes he'd kill for no reason at all.
Yeah, at that point, New York became a place for him to test his talents, and this went so far that police thought the bums were turning on each other.
When he met his first wife, Barbara, he met her at a loading dock where she worked as a secretary. She found that he already had 2 children and was concerned with getting married to him, but he was still romantic and persistent. When she finally expressed her doubts about the marriage, he stabbed her in the back with a hunting knife and whispered in her ear that he couldn't live without her.
Wow, that's a chilling story. Did you know that he acted like an average husband when they married in 1961, and they had 3 children? He was an usher in mass, and he planned family trips to Disney World. This seemed nice and all, but when his temper would come out, Barbara would be the one to feel his wrath.
Actually, his first crimes didn't even involve murder. He did robberies and strong-arm coercion, also drug running, and he soon became a Genovese hitman. He also worked for De Cavalcante crime family and the Gambinos of New York City.
He also worked directly for Brooklyn crime boss Roy DeMoy. He would kill with guns, ice picks, hand grenades, crossbows, and chainsaws.
But his absolute favorite method of killing was using a nasal spray bottle filled with cyanide.
Wow, that's kind of gruesome. Interesting. There was another hitman named Robert Prong, also known as Mr. Frosty, getting his name from driving an ice cream truck as a cover, that Kuklinski would get many of his tactics from. Actually, the name Iceman came from him freezing his victims to skew their time of death. He would thoroughly dispose of his victims by removing their teeth and fingers or dumping them down rivers or mine shafts.
After an undercover investigation went underway, Kuklinski was arrested during December 1986 on multiple charges of murder, robbery, and illegal weapons violation.
After the fact, he was sentenced to 2 life terms in 1988, with 30 more years added after he confessed to another murder. He took this time behind bars to boast of his criminal activities with interviewers and writers, psychiatrists and criminologists, and offered many different accounts for how many people he killed, going from 100 to more than 200. He first denied, then claimed credit for the disappearance and death of teenster Jimmy Hoffa. His confession became the subject for multiple books and 3 HBO documentaries.
After the HBO special, the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office eventually figured notorious Gambino hitman Richard the Iceman Kuklinski for the New York police detective Peter Calabreo's death.
When Kuklinski was asked if he was an assassin, he replied with, "No, I'm just a murderer," and also said that killing gave him the most pleasure in life.
Peter Calabro is one of the men that Kulinski killed. Calabro was a New York police detective who suffered from a fatal shot near his home in 1980. Calabro was selling information to organized crime figureheads, so Kulinski ordered Sammy the Bull Giovanni do his dirty work. In 2003, Richard pled guilty and 30 years was added to his 60-year-to-life sentence.
The person's case I'm going to talk about is much less conclusive and actually quite open-ended. The man is Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa disappeared in 1975, and there are many stories surrounding his death. According to Kuklinski, he was paid $40,000 to do it. Kuklinski and 2 other men drove to Hoffa for him and Kuklinski to have dinner together. That was when Kuklinski knocked him unconscious and stabbed him. He then put the body in the trunk of the car and drove it to New Jersey, where it was then crushed and sold as scrap metal.
I mean, like, that's crazy to think somebody could just so coldly and have no conscience kill someone like that and maybe not tell anybody where the body is or lead them to anything.
Yeah, it's really weird. Another story to prove that Hoffa's death is truly a mystery is the story that Zerilli, son of reputed Detroit-based Purple Gang leader Joseph Zerilli, told the FBI. His story goes that Hoffa was clubbed with a shovel and buried under a concrete slab in a field on his cousin's land in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. After 2 days of excavation, law enforcement officers said they were unable to find anything. The final result was that the investigation fell, and if there is any more information, then the FBI are encouraged to continue the investigation.
I mean, even though all of the atrocities Kuklinski committed, he eventually died at age 70 in 2006 in the St. Francis Hospital in Trenton, New Jersey. Now, he wasn't out of prison. That was the hospital in the wing of the prison ward. He suffered from a rare inflammation of blood vessels, but he was convinced, and he told his family that he was poisoned. In 2012, Richard's story was turned into a movie, The Iceman, starring Michael Shannon and Winona Ryder. And it is an amazing movie. If you're interested in it, I would recommend you go watch it.
Well, that's all we have for right now. Thank you for joining us. This has been Caroline McDarris and
Allie McKinney on Murder on My Mind podcast.
thank you.